Breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report. Presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday during the Vikings season. And today it's Tuesday because the Vikings played on Monday night. And supposed to have one more Monday night game against the Bears down the road, unless it's flexed out of that game. We'll see. But brought to you, as I said, during the Vikings season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN and available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Our producer is AJ Fredrickson, does a fantastic job getting the show together, pulling all the highlights. And AJ, it's a good day to be a Viking fan in Viking land.
Jeff, it's about time. It's about time this
Yes.
team lived up to the potential. It seemed like they got the bounces at times. The defense with some big plays. Kirk Cousins was phenomenal. We're going to go through all of it. You're going to go in depth on every single thing. So I can't wait to get into it. But like you said, it's a great day to be a Vikings fan in Vikings land.
That's right. And also for the Viking team members and coaches, they're enjoying it with the 24-hour rule, which on a short week, because they're playing on Sunday, it's a really maybe about a 12-hour rule that you have to put the last game behind you and get on to it's Packer week. And so that's going to be an exciting week, exciting time that the Vikings are back in the hunt, shall we say.
Yeah.
Only a half a game out of a wild card spot.
Crazy.
And meanwhile, the Detroit Lions all of a sudden looking a little vulnerable as they got crushed by the Baltimore Ravens 38-6 on Sunday.
And Jeff, let me ask you really quick. With the start that this team has had, they obviously have dropped a couple games and they've had a rough start to the season so far. But a huge win over the 49ers, a team that a lot of people think is up there for one of, if not the best team in the NFC. What does that do for like the morale and the mentality in the locker room?
I think it does really wonders. It really gives the confidence for the players and coaches that they can compete at the highest level in the NFL. And they've seen that already this year with the close losses to Philadelphia and Kansas City, last year's two Super Bowl teams, when they were turning the ball over at an alarming rate. Now they've turned that around in the last two games against the Bears and against the 49ers. And as you said, the 49ers are an elite team. And when people want to make excuses, and you can hear that in the national media, well, they didn't have Deebo Samuel. Well, they didn't have Trent Williams. Hey, don't forget the Vikings didn't have Justin Jefferson, their best player. They didn't have Marcus Davenport, maybe their second best pass rusher. Ezra Cleveland, the starting guard, was out, which may have been a good thing because they finally got Dalton Reisner into the lineup, and I thought he played an excellent game.
Yeah, he looked great in his Vikings debut.
Very physical player, and he needs to stay in the lineup, by the way. Whether he's going to replace Cleveland or Ed Ingram down the road, we'll see. But overall, I want to start with this thought also.
Okay.
To me, Monday night's upset of the 49ers and the way it played out, I think it might have been the best game of Kirk Cousins' 12-year NFL career when you consider the national primetime stage and the knock on him for not winning Monday night games and all that, the quality of the opponent, and the stakes that were at issue for the Vikings to essentially get their season on track and get back in the playoff hunt. To me, I thought he played a sensational game. He was stepping up as he faced pressure from the 49ers. The offensive line played maybe their best game in several years. The two tackles, we know they're great players, Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw. The inside players played better. Bradbury had a couple issues, which he tends to have from time to time. But overall, you look at Cousins, 378 yards, 2 touchdowns, great accuracy against this defense that came in, was number 1 last year for San Francisco and came into the game last night ranked 3rd overall. And let's not forget, this 49er team clobbered the Cowboys 2 weeks ago, 42-10. So you take all that into account. To me, it was a statement game for Kirk Cousins and for the Vikings. Now the pressure's there to build on that, to parlay that into continuing this 2-game winning streak, winning 3 out of 4 now, and be able to go into Green Bay and Atlanta the next 2 weeks, which are going to be challenging games, even if the Packers are struggling. Jordan Love got off to a hot start this year. He's had 4 interceptions the last 2 weeks, threw a terrible interception that cost them a chance to beat Denver in Denver. So it's not going to get easier from the standpoint of challenging games on the road, but they kind of gone through the gauntlet of their schedule these first 7 games when they face 5 playoff teams from last year, including the 2 Super Bowl teams, Kansas City and Philadelphia, including San Francisco, that was a Final Four team last year and is a presumed Super Bowl contender. So I think it was just a huge win for the Vikings on Monday night and puts them in a position now where they have an opportunity to get back in the race against the Lions in the NFC North and in the wild card hunt in the NFC. And 3-4 is a heck of a lot better than 2-5.
No kidding.
So let's go to our highlights because there were a lot of great highlights. And courtesy of ESPN and Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. Let's go early in the game, kind of a turnover exchange. The Vikings throw an interception early on the first drive. Jordan Addison has the ball kind of snatched away from Travarius Ward of the 49ers. He got his revenge later, as we'll see. But I thought it was just a huge turnabout when the Vikings were able to force a fumble by Christian McCaffrey, the NFL's leading rusher. And by the way, talking about the Vikings defense in this game, Cam Bynum, we'll show a couple highlights of his with his 2 big interceptions. But I thought one of the big points in this game was the Vikings' run defense to be able to hold San Francisco. That came in with the 3rd best rushing attack in the league, and they were averaging 148 yards a game, and the Vikings held them to 65 yards. That was the shocker to me, because I thought the 49ers would try to jam it down the Vikings' throat, as the Eagles did a few weeks ago. So here was a big play in the running game, a fumble forced by Cam Bynum and Harrison Smith.
Field. Back to him. Able to weave through traffic. Ball comes out.
It's always fun to just watch that ball. Like, you think, just jump on it. Just jump on it. And then it's the slipperiest thing in the world and all this stuff. So fortunate bounce there for the Vikings, but a good force, like you said, by Cam Bynum and
Harrison Smith.
Yeah. I mean, and Harrison
Cam
Smith
had him wrapped up. Harrison got his hand in there, as he is so able to do. Those are the kind of bounces that weren't going the Vikings' way earlier this year.
Exactly.
When they'd get a fumble and the other team would recover. In this case, the Vikings get this big recovery, and it leads to a long drive, 89 yards, 10 plays, culminated by this 20-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Addison.
Cousins, end zone, Addison, touchdown!
And what a perfect throw that was by Cousins, as he was on the mark all night long. Terrific play. Addison running great routes. No Justin Jefferson in that lineup, but the Vikings adjusting and having lots of contributions from guys like Brandon Powell, KJ Osborne, although I thought Osborne could have come down with a tough catch on a deep ball late in the game. Did not. But overall, TJ Hawkinson had a terrific game, the kind of game we expect from him as a Pro Bowl tight end, and especially when you think about the 4 drops he's had the last couple games and a fumble earlier in the season. So Hawkinson really contributing in this game. And the Vikings, after that touchdown, they're up 7-0. They get the ball back, have a nice drive. A big play on that drive, Cam Akers, who I think should be ahead of Alexander Mattison in the pecking order in that running back room at this point with the production he's had. Cam Akers on a 3rd down screenplay, 30-yard catch and run.
Bosa, who it was coming down on him. Blitz. He gets rid of it to Akers. Akers has got a 1st down. Akers has got more than that, plowing his way inside the 5.
And that run, it was a good, powerful run by Akers, but how about the offensive line last night, Jeff?
Terrific.
They were sensational, and we'll see later. They got a game ball from Kevin O'Connell in the locker room post-game, but they were phenomenal all night. All 5 guys showed up. They were on the same page. They did their job, and the blocking on that play in particular, among other plays throughout the night, it really set the Vikings up for success.
Yeah, and you're talking about against an elite 49er front seven with all-pro players, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Fred Warner. These are great players that the Vikings were able to neutralize with a great effort from their offensive line. Now, unfortunately, there were a couple of negatives in the game, and particularly the red zone offense. And after that play by Akers down to the 2-yard line, the Vikings get stopped and have to kick a field goal. Got stopped later in the third quarter when they had first and goal at the 1. This was first and goal at the 2. So that's something that we were afraid was going to come back to haunt them last night. It didn't, along with a missed field goal by Greg Joseph and a missed extra point. So the fact that they were able to overcome all these situations really meant that it could have been a bigger margin of victory for the Vikings, but hey, they'll take it regardless. And so the Vikings at this point are up 10-0 after the field goal. The 49ers respond as you would expect them to do, and Christian McCaffrey on this touchdown run.
Second and goal, McCaffrey again, and he's in. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Certainly didn't expect the Vikings to blow them out, but then came what was the biggest play of the game. Late in the first half, the Vikings, we thought were kind of running out the clock, and they have a 10-7 lead. After the 2-minute warning, they're kind of moving down the field a little bit from their own 40. The 49ers, ill-advised, and even Kyle Shanahan, their coach after the game, I don't think he was thrilled with Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, calling this all-out blitz against Cousins. And so he's got Addison one-on-one on Ward. And here's what happens in just a humongous play.
Blitz off the edge. Cousins throws, and it's taken away by Addison for the touchdown. He and Charvarius Ward fighting for the ball, and this time Addison takes it for the score.
Just an incredible play by a rookie receiver, first-round pick.
That was a grown man play.
Yeah, Jordan Addison got his revenge on Charvarius Ward from the earlier interception. Talking about Addison and just the finesse he plays with, but yet some physicality too for not a real big guy. And the fact that he's got 6 touchdown receptions already this season in 7 games, ranking second in the NFL. The closest rookie receiver to him is 3 behind him. He's having a terrific year. What that tells me, AJ, when they get Jefferson back, and you've got Jefferson, Addison, Hockenson, along with the other supporting cast, the offensive line is improving week by week. And if Cousins can play at this elite level that he was at last night, they could be pretty special. And they could put a long winning streak together and maybe even do some damage in the playoffs this year, along with the defense improving under Brian Flores and getting more used to their assignments. Although last night there was one comical time when I think the Vikings had 8 men on the field on defense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there are some. There's still a learning curve, perhaps, with the Flores defense, but they did a really good job. So with that huge play, but unfortunately, Greg Joseph misses the extra point at 16-7 at the half. But the Vikings with momentum, certainly going into the third quarter. I thought they got a big stop on the first drive of the third quarter, and a big part of that was this sack by Danielle Hunter.
Purdy trying to spin out of there. The ball comes out. Looked like he tried to throw it, but right now it's recovered by Metellus.
Yeah, not a fumble. It was ruled a sack, which was the correct call. His knee was down. But again, a big stop at the start of the third quarter. When you're holding a 9-point lead, the Vikings respond with a drive and again get down to first and goal at the 1. Can't get it in there. And they wind up with a field goal in this particular case, which is certainly fine to get the 3 points on the board, but it was a disappointment at that point in the game. So they're up 19-7. Then the 49ers quickly respond 3 plays down the field. Boom, boom, boom. And this touchdown reception from Christian McCaffrey.
Kittle's had one big game this season. That was at home against Dallas. Here's McCaffrey. He's gone. Touchdown 49ers.
And the Vikings again respond. At this point, 19-14, getting a little nervous. Still in the third quarter, but the Vikings put together a drive. Brandon Powell made a couple nice catches, diving catches. Ty Chandler had a nice catch and run on the drive. They get stopped. And around this time, Hockenson and Addison are both come in and out of the game. Addison's got cramps. Hockenson turned his ankle a little bit, but they showed toughness by coming back. Greg Joseph had a shaky night, but this was a great kick from 54.
Joseph got it with ease.
And for kind of the troubles that we've seen with him in his tenure with Minnesota, sometimes he's lights out and sometimes it's like, what's a light bulb to begin with? That was about as dead center and as like reassuring of a kick as possible there.
Yeah, that was a terrific kick. And as it turned out, it gave O'Connell confidence to put him back out there for that 50-yarder that he missed late in the game. So before we get to our last couple highlights in this great Viking victory over the 49ers, let's talk about our great sponsor, GMC. GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate on Sierra. This tailgate takes innovation to the next level with 6 distinct functions that let you load, unload, and access the cargo box quicker and easier, or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional-grade GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models, plus no monthly payments until 2024. See your select Minnesota GMC dealers. Length of contract limited, deferred monthly payments for 120 days. Excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine. Must finance with GM Financial. Down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from data financing. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/23. So at this point, the Vikings are holding on to a 22-14 lead after that 54-yard field goal by Greg Joseph, getting into the fourth quarter. And the Vikings, again, it's a situation where the 49ers start driving, but and they also get within 5 points in the game on a field goal for the 49ers, get the ball back. The Vikings had 5 straight scoring drives, by the way, from the second through the third quarter. So that was a really good sign for the offense. But a big play occurred for the Vikings. Big interception by Cam Bynum.
Originated with Shanahan. Purdy down the middle and intercepted by Bynum.
That's his first of 2. And then the Vikings, at that point, have the ball. There's about 8 minutes left in the game or so. Have a nice throw from Cousins to Osborne, but they just can't quite convert. They're moving the ball, get down there, but on 3rd and 10, getting down to the 2-minute warning, and I'm not sure that I agreed with 3 straight running plays at that point in time. I know O'Connell's trying to drain the clock, but they just need 1 first down to close the game out, rather than putting Joseph out there for a long field goal that would give them an 8-point lead, but the 49ers would have a chance to come back and tie with a 2-point conversion. So Joseph misses that 50-yard field goal. 49ers get the ball. All of Viking fandom, and I'm sure the coaches and players were gulping a little bit at that point, thinking, okay, oh boy, here we go again with one of these tough losses. The 49ers are going to go down and score.
Yep.
And then Cam Bynum came up with just a huge play.
Purdy steps through, floats it, he's picked, and that's it. Bynum gets another.
And again, just a huge victory for the Vikings, improving to 3-4 on the season. So many good things that happened last night. As we said, a couple of bad things with the red zone and with the missed kicks. But overall, I have to commend Kevin O'Connell for staying positive early in the season through the 3-game losing streak to start the year. Kept talking about we're going to get this on track. We have the talent to do it. We need to win a home game, and it was good they won a home game.
No kidding.
On Monday night. Let's hear from Kevin O'Connell. But I thought it was kind of fun to see the locker room celebration afterwards. And here's O'Connell in the locker room.
When I stood in front of you guys this morning and I told you we had plenty, more than enough to get it done, if you just trusted in your brother, trusted in what we do around here. And then what was it? No hesitation. Shoot your shot. Every single play. You are prepared and ready to go play your best game yet. You guys just did it. Give it up again. Complimentary football is a beautiful thing. And we just felt it at the highest level. We got to be ready to package this feeling up, bottle it up. Everything we work for. Every guy in here doing everything they can to lean into the guy next to him, and good things are going to happen for this team. I got some game balls. I got quite a few, actually. All right, first and foremost, where's he at? 80th career sack to Neil Hunter. All right, 11 receptions, 86 yards, battled through a couple plays where he got nicked up, but he just kept coming back. National Tight End Day, TJ Hawkins. First 100-yard receiving game of his career. Goes out of the football game with cramps. I don't know how many IV bags he got, but when he came back in and we had to have them, Kirk Cousins finds him for a big conversion. All right, this one goes out right here to a collection of 5 men. All right, a collection of 5 men. I called a lot of passes tonight. Kirk Cousins was hot, and we were going to let him deal. But to do that, these 5 guys had to keep that team from any sacks all night, 0 sacks all night. This is for the offense. When they needed to have it, I'm going to go ahead and say it, man. BZ! And let me give this last one right here. All right, when you play quarterback in this league, every now and again, all right, it's one of those nights. And it just happened to be against one of the best defenses in the league. O-line doing their thing. We got off the run game going. But when we needed this guy over and over again, he would not be denied. On Monday Night Football, Kirk Cousins.
Very emotional scene in the locker room. Excited team, and we'll see if they can carry it over to Lambeau Field on Sunday against the Packers. Let's hear from our great sponsor, GMC, before we talk a little more about the Packers and what went on around the NFL on Sunday.
GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering in the GMC Truck Series, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate on Sierra. Try the GMC Canyon with powerful and innovative features engineered and built for all your adventures to come. Or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional-grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models. Plus, no monthly payments until 2024. See your local GMC dealer today. Length of contract limited. Deferred monthly payments for 121 days. Excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine. Must finance with GM Financial. Down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from data financing. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/2/23.
And let's hear from Kirk Cousins.
Knew it was going to be a challenge going against the Niners, and they got a great team, great defense, and they showed that tonight. Felt their rush, felt them playing fast. Proud of the way our team played. I felt it was complimentary football. Defense creating turnovers made a big difference in the game. I thought Jordan Addison's play before the half, was a game-winning type play. Many players stepped up. Brandon Powell, T.J. Hawkinson, our running backs. Tristan had to step in there when we had some guys go down. Did a great job. KJ is always so solid. To have no sacks says a lot about offensive line and Kevin and just the plan they had in place. And, we got to be better in the red zone. When you kick field goals like that down there, it drives me crazy. And so got to be better in the low red. And we got to come out of a game at some point with no turnovers and just be really clean with the football. So we're still working towards that. But, big to get a win.
And let's hear from two of the big stars of the game, Jordan Addison and Cam Bynum.
Oh, yeah, no, he wasn't getting, you ain't going to get it twice. No, sir. I need all that. I need that bad.
How similar did that play look to the first one?
It was pretty similar. It was pretty similar, but, I needed it. I needed that one. I couldn't let him get it twice.
How are you feeling physically now?
Physically, I'm feeling good. We got the big win, first win at home for the fans, so I'm feeling real good.
You just gave an IV or?
Yeah, I just got a little IV, came back.
When you said bad rep on the first one, what was bad about what you did on that
My
one?
release. I just didn't give a good release.
And it was in your head through the rest of the game, like, I've got to get him back?
That wasn't in my head. It's just, I just got to make the rest of the plays the rest of the game,
Didn't feel real. Honestly, thought I got a illegal contact downfield. I kind of hit the receiver a little, but I jumped a little early, like the play against the Chiefs. And I thought I didn't know if I was going to get up there, but thankfully I was able to get the pick and really shut it down for the whole game and really make it a movie. I keep saying movie, but that's the best ending, and you can't imagine it. I'm just so grateful, and it was a fun game.
So a great weekend for the Vikings with the Lions getting beat badly by the Ravens and perhaps being exposed, especially their secondary. Lamar Jackson just tore them apart, 4 straight touchdown drives to start the game. And Lamar threw for 357 yards, 4 touchdowns. I would suggest this, AJ, when the Vikings play the Lions twice in the last 3 weeks, study that game tape of how the Ravens took apart that Detroit defense, because it was something special. They just really tore them apart. The Packers had that tough loss, as we mentioned, in Denver, had a chance in the last minute. They were down 9-0 and 16-3 in the game and rallied to take the lead. Then Denver went ahead 19-17. Green Bay's driving, and Jordan Love threw a terrible interception, underthrew the ball on a deep ball, and he had A.J. Dillon open underneath where he could have got enough yards to set him up for a field goal. So Jordan Love, we'll see how he bounces back this week. He's been struggling, which is good news for the Vikings going into this game. We'll see how that all plays out with the border battle. Other noteworthy games, the Eagles and Chiefs. Not surprising, the cream rises to the top. They have the best records in the league at 6-1. The 2 Super Bowl teams from last year both had big home wins on Sunday. New England got Bill Belichick's 300th career victory in an upset win over Buffalo, who all of a sudden is reeling too. So the trade deadline is coming up next week. We'll see if some of these teams like Buffalo make a deal. Maybe the Vikings make a deal to juice up that defense a little more, the pass rush. Daniil Hunter now leading the NFL in sacks with 9. Could use a little more help with Davenport out, although DJ Wan has been playing pretty good. Maybe the Vikings go into the trade market as they did last year with TJ Hawkinson at that time. And so we'll see how it plays out next week. The Vikings and Packers will be back to break it down next week. Certainly a big game for the Vikings to maintain that momentum that they've built, and now that they've won 3 of the last 4. But it's never easy going into Green Bay. We know that. The following week at Atlanta. But then the schedule gets a little easier with a couple home games with the Bears and the Saints and a road trip to Denver. So there's an opportunity for the Vikings to get on a roll here after that big win over San Francisco. And we'll break down the Packer game next Monday. We'll be back on Monday night instead of Tuesday night. And this has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday, occasionally on Tuesday during the NFL season, by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN and available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with our producer, AJ Fredrickson. Everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to you after the Packer game.